Anyway, I think everything is good now and we can all get started. Please let me know if you can see the standards right here on the screen. If this is visible to you, please let me know so that we can get started, okay? These are basically the supporting documents or standards that you use, throughout the management of an AI model lifecycle. And I'm going to be introducing and explaining to you how you can use them and at what point during the AI model management system. Okay, so here it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is the ISO 42000, the artificial intelligence management system standard. So in today's webinar, what I'm going to do, and what I've realized from the past webinars I've conducted in artificial intelligence, it's basically like the definition of what exactly is artificial intelligence and what is the management system. I think that is the point I think we have to really clarify, okay? Because artificial intelligence models, okay, they are really simple and probably it's going to underwhelm you like, is that AI? Okay. So that is what I'm going to first of all really explain to you. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off by basically giving you examples of how you use AI every day. Okay. I think that is going to give you an insight on what exactly is artificial intelligence, and hopefully this is going to make it very simple for you just to know that AI is not something like robots, or robots that are going to take your jobs, or robots that are going to rule the world or anything like that. Okay. AI, this is basically like, being used in opening your phone, all right, on social media, sending an email. This is just the basic AI that we have. So this is where I would like to start really in this webinar so that all of you can understand what is artificial intelligence and the simplicity of it. I think this is going to be a very big step forward so that you can see also how is it used in your organization. Like organizations who are using artificial intelligence, I've managed to get another blog here, which is just going to simplify things, okay? After that, now, I'm now going to go into the ISO 42000 standard, and I'm basically going to show you how is it basically a structured way to manage the risks and opportunities associated with artificial intelligence. That is what ISO 42000 is. It is basically a framework, okay, just like all other ISO standards. And it is basically to make sure that your artificial intelligence, model, basically you address the risks and opportunities. I think the way that they set up this standard is very simple and straightforward. It's not confusing at all. It is very, very simple. The whole idea, if I'm going to summarize what is ISO 42000 and what exactly are we going to use the artificial intelligence management system for? Well, every artificial intelligence model, or whenever you're using artificial intelligence in your organization, it has to be fair, okay? And then also these are called the principles of artificial intelligence, trustworthy AI. It should be accountable, okay? And then again, it should be what? It should be transparent, okay? After being transparent, it should be explainable and so on. So it should be robust, safe, and secure, of course, okay? And then also your AI models should be human-centered. Your AI models should be what? They should be sustainable and environmentally friendly and so on like that. And also they should be privacy preserving. So these are called the principles of AI, or basically what is called trustworthy AI. So ISO 42000, and in this webinar, I'm going to show you how you can actually use it to provide your framework so that you can meet these AI, principles. So in this webinar, I'm going to start off by defining AI and giving you some examples of what exactly is artificial intelligence and what is not artificial intelligence. Okay. At this point, as I said, I'm going to start off by just simplifying everything so that you really know that AI is not something that is technology of the future, or it's not something that is complicated. It is very, very simple. Okay. And actually, you can get an AI model for $5, $10, or $20. Okay. So it's not something that is very complicated or something that you have to scratch your head on, as we are going to see with the example. And then after that, I'm going to take you back. I'm going to take you back a little bit so that you understand the regulatory landscape in artificial intelligence. At this point, I would like to make sure that you understand what are the legal requirements, what are you legally required to do from separate regions in the world, and what is the purpose of AI regulation, and how exactly does it fit in with everything else. After that, we are going to look into the promises and the risks of AI. On this point, I would like to show you, AI, the risks in artificial intelligence, what they are, from the algorithmic risk, data risk, design risk that you have from the AI models. Usually, they are going to result in other risks like operational risk, reputational risk, and because AI models, basically you have to view them as a risk source. Okay, so if anything goes wrong with your AI model, it usually comes up as an operational risk, a legal risk, a compliance risk, and so on like that. And then after that, we are going to go into the standard. Okay, at this point, I'm going to show you the requirements. ISO 42000, basically, it is made up of three sections. The first section of ISO 42000 is you're going to see, it's basically to standardize the AI model lifecycle. For all the AI models I'm going to show you, what you're looking at right now on the screen, that is the internationally recognized best practice. What you're looking at on the screen, those are the requirements. And when you are going to get an AI model in your organization, this is what you should expect to see, so that you can verify that indeed this AI model meets international best practices. So this is called an AI model lifecycle, which is basically the journey from initiation, developing, reviewing, implementing, monitoring, and changing or decommissioning the AI model that you have. All right. After that, we are now going to start off with the artificial intelligence risk management. In AI, there are basically four main risks, which is design risk, data risk, algorithmic risk, and performance risk. I'm going to give you examples of these types of risks, and basically, what they look like, and how they can affect your ability to meet the principles of artificial intelligence. And then also, we are going to see how those primary risks can result in secondary risks like technology and third party, and also to become a tertiary risk like business and process risk, which is basically any risk that can result like in performance, legal compliance, and so on like that. And then after that, now from the risk assessment, I'm now going to show you how do you manage risk in AI models. All right. So what you're looking at right now in artificial intelligence, at this point, we have a situation that what is required by ISO 42000 is basically synonymous with the best practice and the legal requirements that you have across the world for artificial intelligence. So that is also basically the same case that you're going to see here. So this is going to be the risk management plan. I'm going to show you how to determine the complexity of your artificial intelligence model, how also to determine the business impact, so that you can categorize, or you can really see what exactly are you required to do based on each artificial intelligence model. So at this point, what I'm showing you, I'm just showing you the overview of what you can expect in this webinar. Of course, before we go into much detail, basically what to expect in this training, so that you can see what is to come. So at this point now, we are now going to look at how do we manage these risks. Basically, risks in artificial intelligence, we have got 7 risks that comes alongside all AI models. So these risks now, they are managed by policies, procedures, and then guidelines. So we are now going to go into AI governance. Now, ISO standards, what they are, all ISO standards, if you look at ISO standards from 2023, okay, and the standards that were released in 2024 this year, they are moving away from the external certification bodies. If you see, if you look at ISO 9014, 45000, and all the other standards, you can see that the verification or the validation of that management system, it relied a lot on external audits or having a certificate as an organization. But right now, ISO standards, they are basically focusing on self-governance. So self-governance, what it means that you as an organization, you have to determine how are you going to manage the risk, why are you going to do it, how you are going to do it, and also the technical guidelines that you have. Governance, basically, this is you setting a goal as an organization and also allocating roles and responsibilities. So in my opinion, in this webinar, what you're really going to gain, or the most valuable part of this webinar, in my opinion, is basically to really understand the roles and responsibility matrix for AI governance. at this point now, we have introduced a new concept, which is called two lines of defense, okay? And I'm also going to show you how to use it right here. And we have also linked each stage of the AI model, the activities, who has to do what and how they have to do it like that, okay? So this also is going to cover the whole of the AI model life cycle from the initiation all the way until to governance and oversight. This is the most important part because this diagram right here, it is going to show you exactly what to do at what stage within the AI model that you have to do it and who should also do it like that. Okay. So we are going to end now with the compliance part, okay, because this is risk management, governance, and then compliance. So compliance basically comes with the AI policy and the AI procedure, and this is what it looks like right here. So everything that we are going to do in this webinar is going to lead us to have a document like this. Even you also in your organization, if you've got an AI model, you have to make sure that you have got a policy really declaring how are you going to make your AI systems transparent? What are you going to do? And can you actually demonstrate that this has been done? And you can also give examples, okay? This is exactly what you use ISO 42000 for, all right? So this is going to be the end point that we are going to have. Before we now get started, okay, let me just show you the standard on basically how it looks like, and then we can get started. So when you look at the standard for ISO 42000, okay, what they did in this standard is very good, all right? There's basically three sections. This standard, it is mainly used for validation and verification. Please understand these words, validation and verification. So from clause number 4 to clause number 10 right here, as you can see, this is literally 16 pages only, okay? And this is basically the requirements or the documented information that has to be retained throughout the AI model life cycle. I'm going to explain more about what exactly is the life cycle and what to do. So this standard now, it focuses mainly on the implementation guidance of these AI controls, okay? Because as I have told you, AI models, they've ISO standards, they've moved more into self-governance rather than to rely on external auditors to confirm or verify if indeed you meet the requirements. So this section that you're looking at, the implementation guidance, okay, they are going to give you advice on how exactly you can implement that. So this is called Annex B, and this Annex B, it is the one that you use right here, okay? This is the one that you use on the second line of defense for oversight and governance. This standard also, it consists of what they call the Annex what? The Annex A, okay? The Annex A, which is basically the control objectives and the controls, and these are basically the controls that you apply in the first line of defense, right? Which is very good because from this point onwards, you know that when I'm going to use an AI model, you know that at what point, what am I going to be doing, which control is going to be applied, and how is that control going to be monitored, okay? So that is all what we can expect today. And of course, this is a CPD approved training program. So for those who have engaged in CPD already, you can use this webinar to update your CPD points and also to edit on your portfolio, all right? The other standards that I've showed you right here, as you can see, we've got a lot of standards that you're going to get. All of these standards, basically, you are going to use them as guidance and also as reference from each point in time. I'm going to show you how that is done, all right? But yes, that is it really about this webinar. And let us look into, let us now look into this training in more detail. So this webinar, I'm going to guide you from the early stage of setting an AI strategy throughout the process of development, implementation during the use of AI systems, both from a legal and a technological point of view. So as I said, let us now start by looking at the everyday examples of artificial intelligence before we go anywhere, because I really want you to understand that AI is something that is very, very simple. So let us start with that on the artificial intelligence before we even start defining anything. So you can see that artificial intelligence, it is used, almost everywhere. This is basically a blog that I saw on Forbes. So AI, this is basically used for Face ID, okay? One of the first things that many people do in the morning is to reach for their smartphones. And when your device gets unlocked using biometrics such as with Face ID, it is using artificial intelligence to enable that functionality. All right, that is an example of artificial intelligence. And then social media also. After unlocking their phones, what's next? Many people check their social media accounts, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and more to get updated on what happened overnight. Not only is this artificial intelligence working behind the scenes to personalize what you see on your feeds, but basically this is also, it is figuring out suggestions, identifying and filtering fake news, and machine learning is working to prevent cyberbullying. Okay, these are examples of artificial intelligence. After checking your email, your social media, you every day, most of us will send an email or several. Tools such as Grammarly or spell check activate when you compose your email to help you draft message-free errors. These tools use artificial intelligence and natural language processing. Okay, so at this point, you can see that artificial intelligence is literally affecting everything that you're doing. You use artificial intelligence in everything you do, literally every day. So the purpose of this blog is to show you that artificial intelligence, it's not something that is going to come, and it's not something that has just arrived. This is something that you really got to use at least 5 to 10 years ago. And also Google search. Most of us can go a day without searching on Google for an answer, or to answer a product that we can't live with. Search engine could not scan the entire internet and deliver what you want without the assistance of artificial intelligence. Okay. Again, digital voice assistants. Okay. So from getting directions to your lunch spot, inquiring about the weather or weekend getaway, digital assistants are quickly becoming what? Your go-to tools, Siri and Alexa. That is also an example of AI. Okay, even banking, Amazon recommendations, Netflix, all of those, these are what? These are AI models that are being used. So this is now, I think, if you view AI from this point onwards, you are now going to see that in most organizations, there's what you call the shadow AI. Okay, like most companies, they use artificial intelligence without actually knowing it. For example, from those examples that I've given you on every day, maybe you were not even aware that per day you use 6 to 20 AI models just by, going by day-to-day activities. So that is also the case that is happening in a lot of organizations. A lot of organizations, they are actually using artificial intelligence, including those who say we don't want any artificial intelligence, including those who think artificial intelligence is evil, it's not working, or whatever they think about AI. Themselves, they are using AI. So the risk now that comes with that is like, if you are using AI models and you don't know which risks come with that, there's no any framework in place to manage these risks now. You are only going to realize when it is too late, after those AI models, the risks have manifested and they're going to affect your organization. So what you need to do now is to have a framework to manage these artificial intelligence models. So let us now look at the overview of ISO 42000. What exactly is it? And then we get started from that point. So this is now the landing page, which I'm going to be taking these frequently asked questions. So that you can really see what exactly it is. So what is ISO 42001? ISO 42000, this is basically, of course, the standard that specifies, let us look at this, the requirements. Okay, please mark these words. These are the requirements for establishing, implementing, maintaining, and continually improving an artificial intelligence management system. So that means this standard now, if you can use it, as I said, the first use of ISO 42000 is verification. Some of you, okay, we are going to look also at these AI models that are being used in organizations. The first thing that you do when you get hold, or if you want to use artificial intelligence, is to verify, okay, basically to determine whether or not they meet the requirements. So you have to look throughout the life cycle of the AI model. That means how it was established, how it is being implemented, maintained, and continually improving. Okay. And then also, why is ISO 42000 important? ISO 42000 is important because it sets out a structured way to manage risks and opportunities associated with AI. And this is now what I was telling you, like most organizations, they use artificial intelligence. In your organization, you cannot use it in your department, but it may be AI is being used with your marketing department or your human resources department or the other department that you're not aware of. But these risks from these AI models, if they are not managed, if they are not addressed, they are going to end up being a reputational risk for the whole organization, a compliance risk for the whole organization, or even a performance risk for the whole organization. So not only do you need to scan out if you use AI, but you should actually have a structured way to manage these risks and opportunities. And this is now what I'm going to focus on in this webinar. By the end of this webinar, I'm going to come back here to show you that this is what a structured way looks like. This is how you manage these risks and opportunities in AI. Okay, so after that, now it comes the normal, what are the objectives? The objective of ISO 42000, ladies and gentlemen, is to basically promote what you call, is basically to promote what you call, is basically to promote what you call ethical AI or trustworthy AI. Long story short, you need ISO 42000 because if you are using an AI model in your organization, you should have a document that details how your AI model is fair. Okay, there should be a document like this one telling or giving details how and why, what and who your AI is accountable. Okay, how is it what and so on? How is it transparent? How basically is it explainable and so on? And that is what you're going to use your AI for. All right. So like when we say who is this for, okay? So ISO 42000, this is basically for everyone in the life cycle of the artificial, the AI model, from developing, providing, or using AI-based products and services. Basically, this is the standard for everyone. So with that being said, now let us now start looking at the what. Let us now start looking at the definitions of artificial intelligence. So at this point now, what I'm going to do, I'm now going to give you examples of, I'm going to give you examples of how artificial intelligence is used within the product or service realization process. In the beginning of the webinar, I just gave you the examples of how AI is being used like in every day. But now in risk management, what exactly is artificial intelligence? Okay, so artificial intelligence is, there is no consensus definition as yet on what exactly is the correct way to define AI. Okay, so but for us now, since we are mostly focused on managing the risk to govern and to comply with regulations, the definition or the way that we view AI is basically the application of tools to build models from examples, data, experience, rather than following pre-programmed rules. That is basically what AI is. So for you to understand AI models, AI machine learning like that, you basically have to view it like the same way you train a child to identify pictures of cats and dogs. Okay, if you have got a toddler at home, okay, like a small child, you are going to be showing the child pictures of dogs and cats. This is a dog, this is a cat, okay? And then with time, okay, your child is going to identify this is a dog, this is a cat. And then after that, you are now going to again give your child more examples. This is a gray cat, it's a black cat. This dog is called a greyhound. This dog is called a bulldog. This dog is called what? And then, of course, you are correcting them as we go on until your child can independently identify not only the different types of cats, but the color of cats, the different types of dogs, and the different breeds of dogs. So that, let's say, when you are not home, your child can identify, Dad, Mom, today I saw 3, 4, 5 cats. I saw one dog, like that. That is exactly the way that artificial intelligence models work. Okay, we are going to see that you basically give them examples, which is basically the data, okay, so that they can follow rather than follow pre-programmed rules. So AI now, we are going to look at AI in 4 different sections, okay? We have got language models, okay? These are basically programs that enables computer to understand text and spoken word in the same way that humans can. We have got programs like computer vision that help computers to analyze and interpret visual data. We have got programs that allow machines to learn from data and make decisions and predictions of their own. And we have got programs that are attempted to simulate the behavior of the human brain by learning from large amounts of data. So let me give you some examples of these models that we have. So this again is another blog I would like to share with you. Okay. So this is a blog that I just saw on the internet with examples of AI that we have to, 12 popular cases of use of AI. And I'm also going to share with you how this is actually going to, so that I can explain these language models. So from these 12 examples now, okay, let us start now with we can start off with the predictive maintenance. Okay, most of you have got what? You have got basically, departments for maintenance departments. So you can see that AI is leveraged regularly for predictive maintenance, analyzing data directly from aircraft engines to identify any problems needed in maintenance and to ensure that overall safety of aircraft. Rolls-Royce has also found the use of AI in predictive maintenance to improve the efficiency of jet engines and to reduce the amount of both carbon, of carbon the planes produce, while also streamlining maintenance schedule through predictive analysis. Okay, so that is an example of an AI model. That is basically what learn from data to make decisions and also to predict on their own. That is basically machine learning, which can be supervised or unsupervised. Okay, and then we can also see AI being used in customer service operations. AI has become a go-to tool for customer service operations, helping organizations to ensure that customers receive the support they need while also alleviating some of the burden on service representative and call centers. Okay, as you can see now, AI being used in what? Being used in customer service. This is an example of a language what? Of a language model. That is an example of a program that enables computers to understand the text from the clients so that the same way that human beings can. Okay. And then we can see also that we have got what? Process automation. Okay. AI has proven to be effective tool for automating time-consuming processes that are often prone to human error. By automating processes, organizations can free up employees to work more complex projects and so on. These examples, I will leave you basically just to do them on your own. And we have got financial reporting and accounting. Okay, you can see that using AI to improve data analysis around financial reporting for clients with over 730 million AI-driven consumer interactions per year, leading to a 58 billion machine learning predictions per day. Using its own generative AI, they can implement financial language models that specialize in text, accounting, cash flow, and so on. So again, that is another example of programs that attempt to simulate human behaviors of the brain by learning from large amounts of data. So what you're going to see from this example now, this is typically going to happen in your own organization. These are the 12 examples that can happen in any department. So your department or your organization, you can decide to automate a process or for financial reporting and accounting, for recruiting and hiring, for safety and quality, for workforce schedule optimization. As you can see, this can happen in different departments. What do you need when you are going to use these AI models that I've sent to you? You need a what? You are going to need a structured way on how are you going to manage those risks and opportunities. Whenever you are using any of these AI models right here, you need basically an AI policy, procedure, and processes. You have to describe and to demonstrate how your AI meets the principles. And this is now what I'm going to show you in this webinar. Okay, so this is now what AI is. As you can see, we don't have any robots or any weird stuff that we see on TV or anything like that. This is basically practical tools that are being used every day, and there are a lot more cases, more than the 12 that I've just given you. Now, before we proceed, okay, of course, not everything, not all software is AI, okay? What is AI? This is basically the models we build from examples and data. What is not AI? This is computer software for which every action outcome is defined or explicitly programmed by human beings, okay? Things like Microsoft Excel, things like a calculator, okay? Key performance reporting indicators, process analysis, all those things, rule-based programs. That is not AI as it stands at this point. So in this webinar now, we are now going to look at how to identify the risk, how to govern and how to comply with AI models that are basically built from examples from data and experience rather than following programmed rules. So the first line or the first order of business here is to look at the AI regulatory landscape. What is this all about and what is happening and how to comply? Well, long story short, okay, when it comes to AI regulatory landscape, all of the artificial intelligence regulatory requirements, okay, as you can see, the ones that I've stated there, and the regulations, what I try to do, I try to basically show you publications from 2019, 2020, and so on, because, I really don't want you to, not want you, it's not a good way to look at artificial intelligence as something that is started with ISO 42000 or something that is new. It is definitely not new. It traces back to the 1950s and so on like that. Okay, so when you are looking at artificial intelligence, it's not something that you have to wait until it comes on like that. It is already here. So that also explains why I went so big to cover these legal and other requirements from 2020 or 2019. Anyway, with that being said now, why exactly is AI regulatory compliance important? All of these legislations and all of these publications, all those acts and all those requirements that you're looking at on the screen, they all have got one goal, okay? Of course, that is the development of trustworthy AI, ethical AI, but also all of these regulation, it is basically it is intended to safeguard how do you use AI, okay? There's basically like, 6 areas or that you can summarize on. There's going to be ethical use of AI, strengthening risk mitigation, fostering customer trust, enhancing data protection, boosting innovation and adoption, maintaining transparency and accountability. That is, the same thing that we have in AI, in all of those requirements. And when ISO 42000 was developed, it really started off also with these legal requirements in question. So AI legislation, it is synonymous with also ISO 42001. This is more or less the case in like in environmental management systems, right? Or in health and safety management systems. What you see in ISO standard for safety, it is literally the same thing that you see in also the legal requirements. So to summarize the regulatory landscape in AI, you are required to have ethical use of AI technology, okay? Legal requirements that, they need you to ensure compliance, in the ethical use of AI by preventing discriminatory practices and or biased decision making or privacy infringements. There's also a need or there's a drive to strengthen risk mitigation. Yes, it's a legal requirement. Regulatory compliance, it plays a crucial role in identifying and managing various risks associated with the development, deployment, and use of artificial intelligence. AI regulation also intends to foster customer trust, okay? For example, Google provides users with detailed explanations of how AI algorithms are used to personalize search results. That transparency, okay, it helps users understand and trust the mechanisms behind the way you use AI, okay, the way Google uses AI. So that also, again, is a legal requirement. These legal and other requirements also, they help you to enhance data protection. Of course, data issues, they were a big case before the AI hype. So again, AI applications, sometimes they involve the processing of vast amounts of personal data, especially in the training of the models, and the non-compliance may result in privacy infringements where individuals' sensitive information can be mishandled or is accessed without proper consent. And AI regulation is also not just to make things hard for you. This is also to boost innovation and adoption. You are also going to see on the next slide that, managing risks or, having a framework to govern AI models, it's not only a legal requirement, but it also helps you, okay, to avoid other risks that can come from poorly managed AI models. So again, AI regulation actually helps you to boost innovation and adoption like that. And also, most importantly, as I said, the overall goal of all of these regulations is to maintain transparency and accountability. Okay, compliance requirements, they actually need you, okay, that you need to provide explanations for your AI algorithm, for how your AI generates their conclusions or how they work. That is all the legal requirements we have. So that being said, now that is going to help us move on to the promises and risks. But as I said at the beginning of the webinar, all of these AI regulatory landscape, this is basically what you need. Wherever you are from the world, wherever you're attending this webinar from, if you're using an AI model in your organization, you basically should have a document like this. You should explain how exactly your AI model meets each and every of those principles. So that is what I'm going to show you, how you can use ISO 42000 to do that. All right. So this is now, we now go on now to the promises and the risks of AI. So as you can see at this point, I think at the beginning of the webinar, I told you that to get an AI model, okay, you can get an AI model for like $5, $5 US, $100 US, okay. That is totally possible because getting the AI model, it's not really as hard. You can even train your own AI model, okay. Any high school student in information technology can actually do that with no problem whatsoever. That is just because of the availability of data, low computing cost, and also basically better algorithms. We have got open AI and so on. The tools, they are just endless for you to use. So the development of AI models really is not something that it's basically something that is not as complicated as you might think. So, but what we have to do now with the promises and then now with the risks of AI, it also comes, with the promises like, okay, now we have got different opportunities. We are able to develop new products, transform businesses, improve customer experience. The same way, like I have showed you from the link. In the absence of proper controls, adoption of AI may expose your organization to potential failures and mishaps. So these are basically like the examples, okay, from early experience with AI. We can see there was the case in November 2018, BlackRock, they shows their neural-based AI liquidity models due to their inability to explain the result to senior management. We can have also May 2018, Amazon Echo, it sent the AI model sent a conversation of a family to a random person in their contacts. We have got the infamous Microsoft AI chatbot, basically which was deactivated because of racism on Twitter. We have got also Amazon, their recruiting tool, which showed bias against women. So the thing that you have to look at here is that if your AI model does not have proper controls, if you don't manage your threats and opinions from your AI model, usually it does not end up just with the bad AI model. You have also to look at the risk, like, okay, what are the consequences of a bad AI model? As you can see, in all of these examples, from Uber, Amazon, Microsoft, and so on like that, in all of those examples, okay, these are instances that are remembered for bad publicity, for heavy losses, for operational delays, and so on. These are not remembered for basically algorithmic risk or data risk or design risk. Okay, so that is what you have to look like when you are using an AI model. And in this webinar also, we are going to look at how exactly do you have to view an AI model as a source of risk? That is usually what it is. The risk, basically, they are going to be propagated into what? Into operational risk, into legal requirements, into compliance risk, and so on like that. So those are basically the promises and the risks of AI. So when it comes to AI now, at this point now, you are going to use this standard right here, okay? So this is going to be your starting point. You are going to use this standard that we have right here, the first one, okay? So at this point now, this is when you're going to decide that, okay, we want to use artificial intelligence in our organization. How do you get started? So what you're looking at right here, let me just share it with you, okay? So what you're looking at right here, we are going to have, okay, so what you're looking at here, these are called information technology AI use cases, okay? So how does this work? Well, this is now the standard like this, the use cases we have. So what you do, this has got over 280 cases of artificial intelligence use cases, okay? So you are going to go to your industry. It can be in agriculture, digital marketing, education, energy, you name it, okay? There are over 280 cases of artificial intelligence use cases. This was the standard I was supposed to use at the beginning, but I opted for a simple blog on the internet so that, you know, we simplify things. So this is what you do, and this is where you're going to get your AI model from, okay? So it's basically, you just come over here like this. Let us just select one randomly, okay? So you're just going to look in your industry. So for example here, let's say I'm working in, okay, I just want to look for a very simple, okay? So all of these, basically these are examples of AI. So what you do, you select which industry you want to work in, the industry that you work in, okay? So let's say if it is legal, okay, there's AI use case number 95 to build an AI solution that identifies and updates text flows and classifies them, okay? And basically this is how it works. These are the challenges and then the issues to settle concerns like that, okay? You can also use AI contract management, building an AI contract management solution for automating business processes related to documents, data classification, automatic data extraction, and contract monitoring. So they are going to give you the objective, the narrative, how it works, where can you get it, and also what are the challenges and also what are the issues, okay? So this is basically the beginning of your journey in artificial intelligence. You basically have to identify that, okay, in my industry where we are working, what are the AI models that we have? Like this one, AI virtual assistant for customer support service. Okay, I think this one also we have looked at it. Okay, so they are going to tell you what is the objective, how does it work, from which company you can get it from, and so on. So this standard that you're looking at right here, this is more of an official way, an official version of this blog, okay? This is just a blog on the internet that I use to simplify things, but the official way for you to see how artificial intelligence is being used in different organizations, it is basically going to be used in these use cases like that. So those are all the promises, and then that also comes on with the risk, which we are going to look at, okay? So what you are now going to do now, let us now go to ISO 42001. Now, at this point now, what you're looking at now, this is called an AI model life cycle. So at this point now, we have looked at the definition of AI, we looked at the legal requirements, and also we looked at the risks and then the opportunities. Now, what do I need to do? At this point now, let's say you have identified the need to use artificial intelligence in your organization. At this point, you're about to acquire an artificial intelligence model. So what exactly is the AI model life cycle? So the AI model life cycle now, this is basically the journey, right? From initiation, determining what kind of AI we use and how do we use it. So let us use this example right here. Okay, so let's say, for example, in your organization, you have decided to use AI for what? Let's say, you want to use AI for recruiting and hiring. Okay, so you say your human resources, they said we need to use this artificial intelligence model because, and then there's this example of Amazon is using AI for hiring process to screen resumes, to match candidates with the best suited roles, to perform initial online candidate assessment, and to pass data along recruiters to make contacts with candidates. This is quickly becoming a common practice for organizations to help reduce the manual labor involved in sorting through CVs, thereby speeding up the hiring process and so on. Okay, or you can say, you know what, we need actually an AI for what? For IT operations or to business automation like that. So the first thing that you really have to know is to understand what are the requirements. What do I have to expect? What do I need to see in an AI model in order to determine whether or not it meets international best practice? So remember here we said ISO 42000, it specifies requirements, okay? So these requirements from establishing, maintaining, and also improving in AI, this is what you're looking at right here. So what is happening? Well, if we are going to open this ISO 42000 standard right here, you are going to see that, of course, it is based on the usual Annex SL, okay? And then if you are going to go to clause number 4 right here, again, you are going to see the requirements, okay? Most of you here, you've attended ISO courses, but for those who have not yet attended these ISO courses, let me just give you the definition of a requirement and also what exactly is a requirement in documented information. So these requirements, this is a need or expectation that is stated, okay, generally implied or something that is obligatory. So these needs or these expectations, these are the ones that you are looking at right here. So you know that in model development, this is the expectation. There are 4 expectations. In model approval, there are 3 expectations. In model change, there are basically 3 and 2. In model initiation, there's 1 and 2, okay? So when you're using the standard, how do you know whether or not it is a requirement? If you look at note 2 to the entry, a specified requirement is one that is stated, for example, in documented information. What is documented information? This is now information required to be controlled or maintained by the organization, okay? That is basically the documented information. So if you come over here, okay, to the clause, okay, and then you are going to see that, let us start from clause number 4. So you're going to be looking for the word documented information here, all right? So you're going to go to clause number 4 point what? You go to 4.3, okay? And then they're going to say the scope shall be available as documented information. That means all this information that you're looking at here should be contained as documented information. What does this look like? This scope, in this scope, what do you expect to see? This is now what you expect to see. That is the initiation procedure. That means you should see the identification of the business problem, where exactly the AI is going to be used, and also why is it going to be needed. You understand? If you again, you go to, let's say, to leadership, you're going to see that the AI policy shall be available as documented information. Again, the AI policy right here, this is going to be the policy that they use for the model design. And as you can see here, that's why it says procedure and then procedure right here. So this diagram now, this is literally ISO 42000 that you're looking at right here. Okay, again, if you keep on scrolling, okay, you're going to see that they're going to tell you whenever you see documented information, it is basically, it shows you that that is a requirement. The organization shall retain documented information on actions taken to identify risks and AI opportunities. This is the one that you're looking at right here. This is basically the ethics and compliance as privacy assessment. And that is why you see there is the way the procedure right here. So if someone is going to ask you, what are the requirements? What do I need to see in an AI model? These are the requirements. So let's say, for example, you are going to use this AI model for what? For customer service operations. When you are going to acquire this AI model, or if you are going to be using, you are currently using this AI model, what is the first thing to do? The first thing is to verify, does it meet international best practice? Does it meet the requirements? So that is what you're looking at. So when again, AI risk assessment, okay, if you scroll down, you're going to see the organization shall retain documented information about the AI risk assessment process. And this is literally what you're looking at right here. That's why they say the procedure for model risk tiering like that, okay? So you can keep on going. Again, for risk treatment, there is the need for what? For documented information on that. The organization shall retain documented information about the risk treatment option process. The risk treatment process, that is basically how you approve the model or the changes that you make to the existing model. That is the procedure. So this is now the first thing that you need to see in every AI model that you're going to be using. Because as I've told you, usually AI models, they start off by identifying that, okay, in our maintenance department, we want to use predictive maintenance. There's no problem with using AI, but you don't want basically to use something that you don't know whether or not it meets the requirements. So this is going to be the first part, okay? Again, when you look at all of these sections, post implementation review, okay, again, if you just keep on scrolling, you are going to see that all of these areas right here, let's say if you scroll down here, okay, you are going to see that documented information shall be available to the extent necessary to have confidence that the process has been implemented as planned. This is the one that you see here, implemented the model as validated, okay? So this is now the first part that you use the standard for. When you are using the standard in the first part, it's like this, okay? It is basically like a scale. There are these scales which basically looks like this, okay? So in one side here, you have got ISO 42000. In another side, you have got the AI model, okay? Probably this one is the more accurate measure that we have right here. So that is the first use of ISO 42001. The first use of ISO 42001 is to formalize, to standardize, basically to set out the requirements of what should we see in an AI model like that. So all of these procedures that we're going to do here, you might be asking, at what point am I going to need them? These are going to become this part that you see right here, this section that is marked in what? In black like that, okay? So I'm also going to explain what exactly these guidelines that you see here, this is basically going to be these requirements that you see. So to give you two more examples, and then we can move on, okay? Again, when you look at this one, internal auditing, documented information shall be available as the evidence of implementation of the audit programs and the audit results. This is the one that you see right here, okay? Check, this one, ongoing and reviewing procedure, okay? Post-performance testing to ensure the model is implemented as intended. These are all the requirements that you see. So from clause number what, you can see clause number 9.3, again, whenever it says documented information shall be available as evidence of the results of management reviews. This is what you're going to look at here. Review results of ongoing monitoring, that is basically management review. So I think this one now I've explained it clearly, like this is basically what the requirements look like. This is now what ISO 42000 made a very big impact. If you're going to search on the internet on AI model lifecycle, you are probably going to end up on Microsoft website, IBM, Oracle, these are or Ernst Young. And you are going to see that in all of those AI models, they all don't have this right here, okay? And if you can look from what they were doing, like from Singapore, Australia, the European Union, and you are going to see that before ISO 42000, this was basically it was not consistent like this, especially this section for model change and model decommissioning, and definitely this section like that. So this is now the first use of a standard. Now you know that whenever you're going to acquire an AI model, from what exactly are the legal requirements. So these procedures also, I'm going to show you exactly how you can use them. So this is the first use of ISO 42000. This is now what they mean by setting out the requirements. As you saw, these requirements started from clause number 4 all the way until to clause number 10 from everyone who is involved throughout the AI model lifecycle. It is designed for entities providing or utilizing AI-based products and services, okay? So ensuring there's responsible both development and then use, because this section, initiation, deployment, and pre-implementation review, this is being deployed, approval, and so on, this is now being used, and so on like that. So this is basically the first section of ISO 42000, and this is what you're going to get from clause number 10, okay, like that. And as I said, this is a very short, nice and sweet standard, straight to the point, 15 pages long, giving you exactly what are these requirements, the documented information. And for me, what I've done in this webinar, I've basically just showed you what does this documented information should look like, and this is what it looks like right here. So that is step number 1. Step number 2, because always here remember, okay, what we are trying to do in this webinar, okay, we are trying to look for a risk management, compliance, and basically what, and governance, okay? So you can be asking, where exactly am I going to identify the risk? At what point do I have to govern? At what point do I have to comply? Okay, so everything that you do in AI from management, from risk identification, from improvement. Everything happens within the within the model life cycle. And in this model life cycle, this is where you are going to write your AI process right here. As you can see right here, when they say developers should make efforts to mitigate risk of risk inheriting the system they design. This is basically a requirement that is going to be managed right here in model development. Okay, and then whatever that you're going to look at, even if we go to another example, okay, and then like this one right here, when they say people should be told when significant decisions about them are being made by AI. Again, this is something that you're going to do right here in model implementation, or something that we can verify if that is happening in the post-implementation review like that. So that is basically what you look. So everything that you're going to do about AI, from auditing, from reviewing, from managing risk, from allocating roles and responsibility, it happens on the AI model life cycle. Okay, this AI model life cycle, ladies and gentlemen, this is what is going to be governed. This is basically what is going to be monitored, risk managed, and then this is where compliance is going to happen. In that AI model, that is when you are going to manage those risks and opportunities associated with AI. You are basically going to do it in this AI model life cycle. So this is now going to be the first stage, as you are going to see in the next slide. Now that you understand that there is the model life cycle, okay? Now you know that, okay, there's a life cycle in artificial intelligence, from initiation, model development, pre-implementation review, implementation monitoring and reviewing. We now start identifying the risk. You now have to understand at what point and what type of risk is associated with AI. So as you know, in risk management, before you do anything, you have to first of all look at the goal. What do I expect from the AI model that we are using? Okay, so let's say you are using an AI model for personalization. Okay, this basically is like, this can be used by when you log on to your to your favorite social media application or streaming service. The experience is tailored to your personal taste and browsing habits, all the way down to the target advertisements. AI has helped companies to deliver products and content to targeted audience, ensuring that every app and service you use is personally tailored to the user's unique interests. So you can also use personalization basically to personalize your products or services to your customers. When you are using this AI model right here, you should actually know that, what should I expect? What are the intended outcomes? Okay, so this is now where risk management starts from. Every AI model should be unbiased. Every AI model should be resilient. It should be explainable. It should be transparent. And also it should meet the intended outcomes. So after looking at these principles of trustworthy AI, what are the threats and opportunities? What can help you, or what can prevent you from having an AI model that human beings can understand, challenge, and validate? What can help you, or what can prevent you from having a transparent AI? Okay, so throughout the model life cycle, we have got where we start from problem identification, data acquisition, data preparation, model selection, model training, model validation, model deployment, and ongoing monitoring. This is basically how we use an AI model. Okay, so from the initiation stage, okay, in the model lifecycle, we have got design and data risk. Okay, design and data risk, I'm going to give you more models, but this is basically the data that is used for training. And then we have got algorithmic risk. Okay, this is basically the way that the AI model is working. And then we also have got performance risk. So these are the four primary risks in every AI model. So these primary risks, they can be a source for technological or third-party risk, which can also become a compliance or a legal risk, which can eventually affect the whole organization like that. This is basically the business process risk. So at this point now, let me just show you what will result in the examples, or if I'm going to say the consequences of data or design risk. So let me just give you a couple of examples before we proceed. So let us say this is basically the principle of being transparent, okay? So being transparent, for example, A small claims code, let me just increase the font right here. Okay, a small claims code, okay, um, uh, which one are we using here? No, I want to give you, let me see, let us go to, okay, okay. So let us now start with, because here we have got what? Explainable, okay? So by being explainable, we want to determine, can a human understand, challenge, validate the inner workings and results produced by the AI systems, okay? So if you look at right here, okay, you can see that if it is explainable, okay, so the UK NHS, okay, the National Health Service, they developed the tool called Predict, which allows women with breast cancer to compare their case to other women who have had the same condition in the past and visualize the expected survival rate under various treatment options. The website is an explanation page which shows the weights behind various factors and contains a description of underlying mathematics. Okay, this is basically an example of an explainable AI model. The reason why I started with this, not that one, is because I don't want you to look at risk as anything that is bad. No, risk actually, it can be an opportunity. For example, right here, the NHS, they developed this tool called Predict. And in this tool, they actually took an opportunity for this tool to be explainable. Okay, so that is the example that you have right here. All right, and then again, looking at other risks for AI, okay, you can see that we've got a lot of risk in these examples right here. Okay, for example, right here, this is basically about what? About fairness. Okay, so you can see that here, following a natural disaster, a government relief agency uses AI system to detect communities with the greatest need by analyzing social media data from a range of websites. Okay, so basically they say, where do we need to deliver aid after a disaster? They basically analyze social media, people posting photos and like that. But however, those communities where smartphone penetration is lower, having less presence on social media, and so are at risk of receiving less attention. Therefore, the charity complements the AI tool with traditional techniques to identify needy populations elsewhere. So this is again an example of data risk. So when you're looking at this data risk, algorithmic risk, it does not only mean these are the negative things. Actually, it has to do more with an opportunity. So when you are dealing with the data in AI, you have to look at it as an opportunity to become unbiased, an opportunity to be resilient, explainable, transparent, whether it is in design like that. Okay, let me give you another example and then we can go. Okay, so this is probably probably a bad one because this ended up really being bad. This was done in Sweden, but I think by the time when this document was produced, the AI model had not, you know, anyway, it ended up not good, but basically at this point it was working, right? So a foreign country has a government service which identifies parents who owe money in child maintenance. So the data matching process is often incorrect due to misspelling, names, or missing data, which results in some individuals being incorrectly targeted automatically by the system, with the results being a large bill, poor credit ratings, and even freezing wages. So the recourse for individuals who are incorrectly targeted is time-consuming and is not straightforward. If the potential impact is correct, decisions had been assessed, mitigation measures such as user-friendly review procedure could also have been set up. So as you can see, this is again another problem with data risk. So this section now, you are going to understand that, the purpose of this slide that you are looking at here, this is basically to show you what are the risks that comes with every AI model. And basically, these are the risks to what, okay? So that is now what you're going to do. So at this point now, we now look at your organization that, okay, not every AI model is going to present the same velocity of risk or the severity of risk, okay, or the consequences, okay? Yes, as you can see, we have looked at AI models like what? Simple AI models like to unlock your phone, Google Translate, and so on like that. So before you start managing or having a framework to manage these risks right here, we need to conduct a risk assessment or basically Yeah, basically this is called a risk assessment in AI. But the risk assessments in AI, they are pretty much simple and straightforward. As you can see here, it starts off with what you call a complexity assessment. So in your organization, the first thing that you need to determine is how complex is the AI model that you are using. So the complexity is determined on the data source. Okay, remember we said AI models, these are basically models being trained from large amounts of data, like giving them examples. So this is now going to be, you have to look at the data source, okay? The data source, input data methodology, and then the output. So for the data source now, I think this is pretty much straightforward. You basically have to determine how many data sources does the AI pull from, okay? And also, does it have use external data, which is not the information basically that's used from your organization, okay? And then also the data that it uses to basically make those predictions or the classifications. Does the AI use case unstructured data? There's structured and unstructured data. Structured data is basically like the data that you see on an Excel file in columns with names and categories. Unstructured data is just going to be, let's say, just random data that you have that has been collected like that. So that is what you have to do at this point. So just to give you a little bit of assistance, I have added some notes here that you can access. Okay, so these are basically the notes that I have added for you, so that you can also improve the quality of your so that you can improve the quality of your complexity assessment. And also the methodology on how does the AI work, what type of AI algorithms is used by the AI use case, the parameters, and also does does the AI use case in employee transfer learning. So at this point now, what you're trying to do, you basically want to give a total score in complexity, okay, from low, medium, and then high. Okay, so if your AI model is low, the complexity it is low, that also translates to the velocity and and also the consequence. When I say velocity of the risk, it means how soon and how bad can it be. You understand? So if it is low, there is probably no much need other than just to go back right here, and then you end up at this point. Okay. If it is, of course, if it is medium and then high complexity, that means, of course, you have to proceed to the next stage. If it is now, if it is a complex, medium, and high, then you now have to look at, okay, to what extent is it going to impact our organization, enterprise? Okay, so you are going now to look at how does this AI model, how is it going to, can it affect revenue, efficiency, customer experience, complaints, and reputational risk? Okay, so after that, again, at this point, basically, you are just looking at does the AI use case aid in, aid in revenue generating activities, if it is having generation, and then you are going to be giving out points like that. To what extent will it affect operational efficiency? This is the AI use case used for control purposes and so on like that. At this point, I'm trying not just to read what is on the screen, but this is basically like how the template is. Because when you see the template like this is basically the end of it. This is everything has been done for you at this point. All the heavy lifting, so as to say, has been done. All what you have to do is just you have to have a scoring matrix like that. And again, you are going to combine the complexity assessment and the impact assessment so that you can see the velocity of the risk. And also, this is going to tie you back to the legal requirements. If you are going to check the legal requirements in your jurisdiction, there are specific requirements, as I'm going to show you in the third slide, on if your AI model is a high complex or low complex or medium complex. This is what you have to do as far as legal requirements are concerned. If this is not the business impact, if it's low, medium, and high, this is what you have to do. So this is basically the part of risk management or risk assessment in AI. When it comes to risk identification and in AI, it is very simple because we all know that in AI, there are 4 primary risks, which in total can end up as 7 risks. Okay. But the risk that you have to focus is design, data, algorithmic, and performance risk like that. So that risk now we need basically to really see what is the velocity of the risk, and what impact will it have. So the complexity assessment and the business impact is going to articulate the risk. Articulating the risk, that means you are really going to see how bad can it be and how soon can it happen, really. And this is also a legal requirement, which is going to give us now to the risk sharing framework. At this point now, in this risk sharing framework now, this is now going to point out to you how to go about it with the AI model that you have. If the complexity, okay, so again, we are going to use complexity, as you can see right here. Let me just minimize the screen. So complexity and also business impact. So let's say complexity, if it is medium, and then the business impact is high, so that means you are in tier one like that. So that means initial validation, yes, you have to initial validation. There should be ongoing monitoring, and there should be ongoing frequency like that. Okay, tier two and then tier three like that. This is basically going to show you. And again, at this point now, when we say initial validation, where exactly is this going to happen? We go back to the AI model lifecycle, and then you are going to see that means this is the initial validation. We have the pre-implementation review. That means it has to be done. Okay. Ongoing monitoring. Where are we going to do the ongoing monitoring? We are going to come back here for the ongoing monitoring and review. This stage here, that means it should be done at least monthly, quarterly, or annually. So that is now what I was trying to tell you when I told you that this AI model lifecycle, in my opinion, this is the most significant development that really, I think ISO 42000 really came with, because at this point now, we have got something, we have got substance. We know that whatever I'm going to do with my AI model, I'm going to go to the AI model life cycle, okay? And then again, when they say ongoing review frequency, you know that this is now the what? The ongoing, the pre-implementation review, the post-implementation review, and so on. This has to be done depending on the risk like that. So here now, I've added the European Union AI Act, because honestly speaking, this is the most comprehensive act that we have today. So if you're not from the EU, you can just use this as best practice. Okay, you know, when it comes to these legal requirements, like they are not really, you know, they are not really different. Okay, because literally they are being made by the same people, right? They all come from IEC. But if you are not in the European Union, you have to use it as it becomes approved code of practice. I think they really did a very good job right here. That is also the act that I used to prepare this framework. So basically, this is now the risk management or the risk assessment that you do for AI. Okay, the risk management is to determine what types of risk at what stage, the complexity, the impact in your business, and also the risk sharing, so that you understand what to do. After that has been done now, we now need to know how can I manage this risk, okay? So at this point, this is now going to be for the people basically who are in tier 1 and 2, okay? That depends on the complexity of AI model and also the impact it has got in your business. So at this point now, we know that, well, what are the risks that come with all AI models? There's design risk, data risk, algorithmic, and performance risk. Those are the four primary risks, and these are managed by processes, okay? So we are going to see how do you manage those risks by having a consistent definition of AI, model risk sharing, which is just done, model documentation, which is the model lifecycle, ISO 42000 clauses, model inventory framework, ongoing monitoring controls, 2 lines of defense, which is going to be governance, and ethics and privacy assessment. We look at technology, okay? This is going to be data cloud for, you know, for storing your data, structured and unstructured, computing infrastructure and vendor management. This is what you use to manage technology and third-party risk. And of course, we now have got compliance and business risk, which is basically going to be managed by people. That is oversight, roles and responsibility, and then also talent management. But overall, these key risks in artificial intelligence, they are managed in what? They are managed by policies, procedures, and then also the guidelines. One thing I have to mention for you here when it comes to artificial intelligence, okay, you have to understand that these risks right here, not only they affect throughout the life cycle, but also they affect different principles. Do you understand? For example, this data risk here, okay? It can start as data risk right here. It is okay, but after some time, performance due to the new data that is being used, the data risk actually, it can also become poisoned or it's not suitable and sufficient. And for example, it might end up not being transparent. So these risks now, the way that they are being managed or reported, basically, we are going to report them in the form of these principles, because these principles all, like when it becomes accountable AI, all of those 7 risks, they can what, any of those 7 risks can cause your AI not to be accountable. What I'm saying is, you look at this risk, right? You can say, let's say, third-party risk. Third-party risk, okay, it can actually even make or prevent your AI to become transparent, okay? And so as also the algorithmic risk and so on like that. So all of these risks right here, we now need a consensus and one way to basically want to manage all of those risks. And this is now where the governance comes in. So when you are looking at AI governance now, what exactly are we trying to do? AI governance now, this is now where we have to look at the why, the how, and also the technical guidance. Okay, so the AI governance, the main thing what you're trying to do here, we want to create awareness and alignment of the key components of the AI governance framework across analytics, technology, risk ethics, and so on like that. But what I want you to understand, like what exactly is happening here, okay? If you look at this why, okay, the policy, this is the AI principle. These are the AI principles that you're looking at right here. Okay, so this is now the AI principles: unbiased, resilient, explainable, transparent, and performance. Okay, and then when you look at the procedure, how to do it from the model initiation, model development, model commissioning, and so on. This is the what? This is the AI model life cycle, the ISO 42000 requirement. Okay, and then when we are now going to look at these guidelines now, these guidelines, ladies and gentlemen, this is now going to be this part that you look at right here. This is now going to be called the control objectives. So these are the ones that you're going to have at this point. So that is basically the structure we have. So AI governance, this is basically a set of policies, guidelines, processes, and rules that an organization establishes to govern its internal use, to develop, deploy, and basically manage AI, management of AI, all the tools and the capabilities. Governance is very important because it ensures that the AI tools and mechanisms are used and developed in a way that drive efficiency, innovation, and also productivity, while upholding what? All the obligations and the ethical compliance that you have. AI governance, okay, it promotes transparent, fair accountability and data privacy in AI use. Governance is going to help you with the emphasis on human oversight at critical divisions point involving AI use. And overall, AI governance is going to align AI use and development with the with the established standards and regulations that we have. So that is basically what we're going to do. So governance now, we are going to look at the AI risk management. We're going to look at the policy, like what are you going to be using the AI model for, and what are the principles you want to meet. And then in the procedure, how to do it, we are going to be looking at the requirements. We are going to be looking at the requirements for AI, okay, like the model implementation, model approval. This is basically the overview, the AI model lifecycle, and then we are now going to look at the technical guidelines that we are going to use for validation. So this is now what you do now. This is now the roles and responsibilities matrix for AI governance. Now, at this point, I really want to go slowly here, okay? Because there's a lot of things to unpick here, okay? So let me take a deep breath first so that I can really go slowly. I don't want to go any faster here, okay? No. This diagram that you're looking at right here, okay? This is basically the point where we are going to summarize everything, okay? So as you can see, let me just explain the structure, what exactly is here. So here now, in the first column, we have the AI life cycle, okay? We have got the AI life cycle, which is this one, all right? These requirements that we have. We have already established, like, what are the requirements at each stage of the AI model life cycle, right? So that is what we have in this model life cycle right here. And then we have got what you call the activity group, Okay, so this activity group, basically, this is like, what, what, this is the stage, and then these are now the requirements. Okay, like how exactly are you going to use ISO 42000 here? So for example, in clause number 4, it's going to help you with problem identification. Clause number 5 and clause number 6, it's going to help you with model development. And then this is going to be the pre-implementation review and so on, like that. And in this column, you're now going to have the activities. Okay, so these activities now, this is what you do in order to meet these requirements in this one, in this purpose group right here. And then, of course, here we have got the risk owners, and then we also have got the oversight and then the governance. So let me just show you what is happening here and how do you do it. So the first thing that you're going to do, let us say you have you now got this AI model, okay? So let's say you got an AI model for financial reporting and accounting that you want to use in your organization. And you are hearing all these good stories that, well, PwC, is using AI similarly to better inform consulting through natural language processing, machine learning, and deep learning model operations. Basically, the company is investing 1 billion over the next years to expand and scale AI capabilities. It's clear that more organizations are starting to recognize the benefits of AI for financial reporting and accounting practices. So you say, okay, your accounting department, they want to use artificial intelligence for that. Okay, so you are going to start off right here, most likely. Okay, this is going to be the pre-implementation review. Okay, so in the pre-implementation review, what exactly are you going to do? So that means, you should know that there is going to be model risk sharing, there's going to be model evaluation, and then there's going to be review ethics. What are these? These are literally the requirements that you're going to have. Okay, so how exactly are you going to meet these requirements? This is now what you are going to do. Okay, so here you can see there's someone who is responsible, accountable, consulted, and also informed, like that. So this is now what you do, and this is the template you should have in your AI model that you're using in your organization. The second page, you can see that we are going to go to the model approval. You now approve the model as assigned in the risk sharing. You do the model implementation, post-implementation review, ongoing model commission, etc., like that. So at this point now, okay, you should be having two questions like, okay, Langton, what you have showed me here is what are the requirements, and you have showed me the stages, and you have showed me who has to do what. But how do I know how to do it? Okay, how do I know how to do it? And also, how do I validate if it has been done correctly? Like, for example, you might be asking that, Langton, look, okay, this is model development. Okay, you have told me that AI models, they are trained based on data. And this is basically during every AI model development, there should be model design, inventory management, model build out, etc. These are the requirements, and this is how we meet the requirements. Okay, but these are just the statements to me at this point. How do I know what to do, and how do I verify if that has been done correctly? So here now in the model development, you come over here. You now go to the Annex A of ISO 42000. So in Annex A, you are going to go and select the appropriate control for that stage. For example, here now, this is going to be the data systems for AI. This is the control that you're going to apply right here in model development, for example, right? So you're going to say, why are you applying this control? This is going to help you to ensure that the organization understands the role and impacts of data in AI in the application and development, okay, which is the stage we are at, provision or use of AI throughout the life cycle. So these are basically called the controls. Okay, so these controls now, A7, when we say the organization shall define, document, implement data management process, the organization shall determine document details and so on. All of these models that you see here are all of these controls. If it is called A, it is basically going to be for these people right here. You see? So the first line of defense, these risk owners, okay? No, let me really say like this right here. Okay, you see these people right here that I've marked in blue. Okay, this section that I've marked in blue right here. What do they need? Who is responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed on is basically A7. Do you understand? And then this section right here, okay, for these people right here in the B section, the second line of defense right here, they are going to have oversight and governance, basically to validate if indeed the first line of defense they have completed these activities as required. What you look at these activities, ladies and gentlemen, it is literally an explanation for this. So this second line of defense right here, they are going to go to B. So you say A1, so you go to B, sorry, we are looking at A7, so you go to B7, okay? And then if you go to B7 like this, you see, you are going to see there's again the same topic, data for AI, okay? And then this is going to give you implementation guidance, okay? It's also going to give all the explanation on basically how to validate like that, the quality for data systems, data provenance, data preparation, and all these requirements. So that means if the second line of defense, they are going to compare, okay? You see this section that I'm marking in blue, this is what it should look like right here. So as I said at the beginning of the webinar, AI or not AI, ISO standards, they are basically moving towards self-governance. So in other words, just in the model development only, this is going to involve a total of 11 different people throughout the what? Throughout the AI model like that, okay? So after that now, we go to the pre-implementation review. Okay, I'm going to give you again another example like that. Okay, so this is now how you govern AI. And what are we doing here, ladies and gentlemen? Why is it that we have got these activities? We've got these activities groups. This is now how we follow the procedure, really looking at, okay, at model initiation, model development, why are we doing it? What are we doing it like that? Because remember, we said, okay, you see, for example, now this is algorithmic risk. So I'm going to ask you, how exactly do you manage algorithmic risk in your organization? And then you know that algorithmic risk in the AI model life cycle, this is the risk that comes during model selection to model validation. It's algorithmic risk. So you're going to tell me that how do you manage algorithmic risk in an organization? You are going to go to the stage where it does model selection, okay, which is basically, okay, let us start from here. Model selection, it starts from this point right here, okay, and model approval. So it's going to be pre-implementation review and then model approval. This is the section where we have to deal with algorithmic risk, okay? So you come here, okay, to this matrix, and then you go to this pre-implementation review. So you're going to tell me algorithmic risk, we do it in pre-implementation review, and this is what we do in the organization. Who is going to be responsible, accountable, and consulted? This is the first line of defense, okay? So what control is going to be applied here? And then you go to what? You go to the first control like this. You understand? You go to the first control. These are the controls that you have. And then in this control now, you are now going to go and then you're going to say, I'm going to have the control A5, assessing impacts of artificial intelligence. This is basically the control that is going to be applied. What you're going to look at here, assessing impacts, societal impacts of AI, documentation of AI impact assessments, okay, assessing individual, etc., like that. This is basically everything that we have to do here. That is where you're going to get these recommendations regarding. This is where that is what it means for you to have model validation, more detailed model requirements. This is model risk sharing and the risk factors and all these review for the ethics. So you know that this first line of defense right here, this is now what they are going to do. And then this is the A5, okay? And then what about the A2 that we have right here? The second line of defense, okay? What is it that they're going to validate and verify? So if this is A5, okay, you are going to go to what? To B5, okay? So when you go to B5, literally, you're going to see they're going to give you the implementation guidance. So when it comes to this standard, there is literally no need, okay, for anyone to come and implement this one for you because the standard is giving you controls and also the verifications, okay? That's why I said you are going to see that the need for external auditors in ISO, it's going less and less because literally there is no need as long as you can prove that, you know, everyone here basically So you're going to go when, let's say, for those who are interested in auditing and so on, an audit here, what it is going to be is basically going to look at the person who is responsible executing the task. Did he or he did not execute this task? You are going to go to the person who is accountable. Does he have documentation that the task has been done? You go to the person who should be consulted. Is he or is she aware of that? The people who are going to be informed, do they know the decision or the action that has been taken? That is all what you're going to do right here. Okay, so we go on and on and on like that throughout the AI life cycle phase. This AI life cycle phase, ladies and gentlemen, this is basically the natural cycle that every artificial intelligence model that you are going to see. So from this, after this webinar, okay, when you are going to be using these documents right here, you go to the industry, whatever industry that you want to work in, and then you can just see how the AI is going to be used for. Now, at this point now, you might now be asking like, okay, Langton, what about these other documents that you were talking about? So these other documents like information technology, ethical and societal concerns, what exactly and what is this? Okay, when am I going to use it? Okay, so you come over here, right? So this document, as you can see, it is for what? Artificial intelligence overview of ethical and societal concerns. This is going to be the document that you use if you are the person who is responsible for this. Okay, so let's say, for example, in your organization, you can see here there's the review or there's the ethics and compliance and privacy assessments. So who is responsible for executing this task? This gentleman right here, AI developers. So they are going to use this basically as form of guidance. Do you understand? And then you come over here again, and then you're going to say, Langton, what about this one? What about the information technology governance? Okay, like this right here. When am I going to use the standard that you have right here? Okay, so again, this standard right here, governance, governance of IT. Okay, this basically for those people who are responsible for the model implementation phase right here. Okay, like this one, model implementation, etc. like that. Whoever is responsible, they're going to be using that. So that is why you see there are a lot of these supporting standards. This is not to confuse you, okay, or this is not to overcomplicate things. Not everyone is going to be using all of them. These are literally, even if you open them, if you open this one, guidance, like if you open this one, governance for best practice, if you open for guidance on risk management in AI, this is literally just guidance, okay, which is just going to get you back to ISO 42000 on what to do. This is just to provide you with extra information on how to go about it. So of course, that is also going to come alongside with you. So what you're looking at here, this is basically the risk matrix on how exactly to manage an artificial intelligence model in an organization. So we are now going to go to the last phase of this training. We said this training is what? We said we are going to look at governance, risk management, and compliance. So the risk management, okay, it is basically the part that I started with, okay? We started with the ecosystems. We did our complexity assessment, the impact, and also how these risks are managed. And then the governance part now, I combined the risk management and the compliance and the governance so that I can show you who exactly has to do what and which are the what are the controls to be applied. When you get this presentation, I have listed I have literally at each stage, design phase and so on, I've given you the relevant controls that you have to implement, okay? So all that information is going to be there despite the examples I've given you. Now, let us now finish off the webinar with the compliance part. How do you comply? Well, you comply by having an AI policy. So an AI policy, ladies and gentlemen, this is basically a legal requirement in every country, okay? Even here in the UAE, we don't have a specific legislation for artificial intelligence, but what we have basically is the approved code of practice. So anywhere in the world, even whether you've got legislation that is currently in exercise or you don't have anything, you are supposed to have an AI policy, okay? So I will admit this looks a little bit confusing, but I will try to basically make it as simple for you as possible. So this is the AI policy and this is the AI procedure, okay? So these two documents, okay, the easier way to view them is this. So I'm going to start off with an example of, let's say, explainable, okay? So what you're looking at here, okay, this one, when you say the principle, it is this section right here, okay? This is now what we have right here. Like within the principle, model risk principles and requirements, it is this section that you see here. This section that you're looking at right here, this is basically this one, the framework for, how exactly within the model lifecycle, what are you going to do to manage that principle? It is basically this section right here. And these guidelines that you're looking at, this is basically this section that you see for the one for the model procedures, like what exactly I'm going to do. So let me just simplify everything for you right here. So this is now the compliance part of artificial intelligence. So your artificial intelligence model should be explainable. For example, right? What does it mean? It means that you as an organization, you have to, okay, demonstrate how exactly did you make your AI explainable. So it's going to start off with something like, we'll make AI systems as explainable as technically possible. How are you going to make them explainable? Well, you're going to say this is the methodologies of AI which have got significant effect on individuals should be explainable to them to the extent permitted by the available technology. Okay, how are you going to do this and this, etc., like that? That is going to be the guidelines. So you first of all have make a declaration. You are required to declare that indeed we are going to make it as explainable in what ways. So this is basically called the intent, and then this is going to be the guidelines. So the guidelines, they're going to say AI operators should consider providing affected AI subjects with high-level explanation of how their system works. So for you now as an organization, you now have to demonstrate, like, how exactly are you going to provide affected subjects with an explanation? For example, a person turned down for a credit card might be told that the algorithm took their credit history, age, and postcode into account, but not learn how the application was rejected. That is basically explainable. So you are going to say, well, we make our AI explainable at this point right here. So you go back to this stage right here, and then you go to the model approval. And then you say the model is basically you go to you go to, let's say you go to model to the model approval, okay? And then we're going to say we are going to implement the model as it has been. We are going to approve the AI model and assign the risk sharing like that. Basically, we at this point during model approval, we are going to apply this principle right here. And then you come back to the principle, to the control, I mean, okay? And then you say, this is basically going to be this one, information for interested parties, and basically the yes, or you can note this one, A10, third-party customer relationship, customers right here. The organization shall ensure that its responsible approach to the development of AI considers the customer's expectations and needs. If they expect a need and to see how the results have been generated by AI, this is going to be done. So this is the control that is going to be done with the first line of defense, and it's going to be validated if you go to B10 like that. Okay, so that is basically how you use it like that. And then you're also going to go to another example. AI operators should consider, you are required that you should consider providing affected with AI subject with the means to request explanations for specific significant decisions to the extent possible given the state of present research and choice of model. So as you can see, the principle of being explainable, this is basically going to be as part of the third-party and customer relationship. This is basically the A10, and also it's going to be validated by B10 like that. And then you go on to the next principle. So that is basically how you are going to be using it, okay? Like, okay, for example, let us go and then look for accountable, okay? Accountability, you have to tell us accountability for the outcome of AI should not lie within the AI itself. Okay, so how are you going to make AI accountable? And then you can even start from this point that, you know what, when it is to the use of AI systems, we are going to apply A9. This A9, it is going to be applied right here in the model implementation, okay? And then when we document the model, we're also going to retain the responsibilities like that. So that is basically the compliance part that you need to do as it is like that. So that is basically how you use ISO 31000 in the compliance part, okay? So with that being said, please check your email inbox. I'm sure that our team, they've sent you uh, all the resources and also the guidelines that you're going to get. This is the course bundle that comes alongside with it, with all of the other resources that you need for artificial intelligence, from the use cases, overview, trustworthy, and so on, so that you can use them as like that. Okay. So once again, thank you. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for attending this webinar. I really appreciate you. Please let me know if you have got any questions, so that I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. Yes, this presentation, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be available to you alongside the course bundle like that. And as you know, this is actually going for $100. For $100, you are going to get the resources and materials which is worth more than $1,000. Okay, because like the standard that you're going to get here, this is about 150 US. All of these standards, again, they're about like 180, 1 like that. So literally, this is a package that is going to really help you. You are going to receive all of these materials like that, so that you can actually use AI in your organization responsibly, and also you can meet any other legal requirements that you have. So please check your email inbox so that you can assess, and then you can see the package that you're going to get, or you can just click on that link like that. And also, I really, 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 really want to thank everyone who has attended this webinar for the third or the fourth time. It really means a lot to us. And thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, I'll see you here.